All right, today's topic is to do the second part of the Word project, where we've got the content of a document, but now we want the lovely style of it. So I'm going to go to Word. It remembers my recent projects. This is one advantage of having a login on a system, is it keeps track of the things you've been working on. If we had a common login, it's set to forget everyone else's work if you start up Word. So here's the recent. If you've ever crashed your computer, when you start up Word, it'll give you a chance to look at recoverable files, and it'll be a separate box that'll show up here. So I'm going to go to the recent one. And remember last time we ended with just starting that centered paragraph and getting it, centering that paragraph and then changing the font. We changed the font to 37 size just for practice. Remember, with font, I have to have the font selected first. Then I can choose its size. I can center the paragraph while I'm there. Font of size 37, and the style of, or the type of font, name of the font is Rockwell Extra Bold. We made that Rockwell Extra Bold. And then we also applied a style to the text itself, a quick style here, text effects. I clicked on that and chose the, does it have a name? If I hover over it, I'll see the name. White outline, red, accent color 1. So that is the style applied to that font. Remember, the font had to be selected in order to set that style. We're not done here yet though, because we would like to make that paragraph to have a background shading. Now it doesn't matter if I have the font selected if I'm going to apply a paragraph style. Remember, paragraph styles apply to whatever paragraph I happen to be in. Whether or not I had the text selected doesn't matter. If I decide to come up here and shade my paragraph, I'm going to click on the shading, click on the little down arrow, and I'm going to choose a shading color of the little purpley. Let's see if they give us the name of the color. It's the second to the right column, second from the right, and second from the bottom. Now let's make sure you understand these colors. This is a theme color table. All these colors at this top section are theme colors. What that means, if I choose a different theme when I'm theming my document, my theme color table will change. And whatever happened to be in the second from the bottom, second from the right, will become what this paragraph's color is, if I decide to apply a different theme. If I had chosen a standard color like this, which is very similar to that one, that would mean that stays that standard color even if I decide to change the theme table. So changing the theme is changing the theme color table. And if I want it to stay a certain color, never change, I choose a standard color. So we're going to choose a theme color because later on we will adjust our theme. Now notice the paragraph I'm in changes its background color. And this is all a lovely way to color a paragraph. But yet I want to show you a better way to do graphics like this. And let's just do a quick little diversion from coloring a paragraph. Let's see if I adjust the margins of my paragraph, see where the color, the paragraph's color stays within the margin of my paragraph. And this is, every paragraph has its own margin to go with it. See, if I click on the paragraph, I will see these little tick marks or markers or anchor points. Those determine the paragraph margin of that particular paragraph. If I go to another paragraph, usually the margin is the same because it remembers margins as I go. But I can always adjust margins independently of any other paragraph. But let me show you a better way. If you want to do graphics like this, a good way to know how to do something like this. Instead of a paragraph that's stuck right in this location on my poster, let's instead do a, just for practice, we're going to insert a text box. Insert a text box. And I'm going to draw my text box. And I'm going to draw it in a similar location to to that paragraph. I'll just draw a text box, maybe just down and to the right, overlapping a little. Doesn't matter. And now I can put that text in there. Wash your hands. Exclamation point. Control A, select all the text. Make it all caps like I did the other one by going into my capitalization, uppercase. Change it to Rockwell extra bold. Change it to 37 point. And center it. And apply the text effects that I had applied to the other one. And now fill that text box with a color. Now this time I'm not going to fill the paragraph with a color. I'm going to go to the shape format and fill my shape with that color. And since I don't want a dark outline, I'm going to change the shape outline to no outline. Now what's the advantage of this? It looks exactly the same. I can now adjust its wrapping to be either behind text or in front of text or having text wrap around it. I'm going to leave it as in front of text, and I can anchor this anywhere and it'll sit on top of wherever I put it. So I could put it right on top of that paragraph. I could even match it exactly in size. And there I have a graphic, looks very similar. But since I made it a separate text box, look what else I can do with that graphically. I can rotate it. I can resize it. I can do even cooler stuff under shape format. I can apply different effects around it with shadow, drop shadow. I can apply a glow around it. I can give it a bevel. Lots more things available to me as a independent little text box plus the graphical capabilities. I couldn't do any of these graphical things nearly as easy. Maybe it's possible somehow, but not nearly as easy as by making it a separate text box. And because I like the looks of it, I'm just going to place that right on top of that shaded paragraph just to show you how much better it can be. You couldn't do anything cool graphically like that if you did a shaded paragraph. But shaded paragraphs are easy to do. It's just in the simple paragraph shading when I'm inside that paragraph. So I'm going to put just put it offset just so I can compare the shaded paragraph compared to my independent floating text box that I can put anywhere in my page and apply lots more graphical effects. So that's just a little extra. If you like graphics, and of course the header of a flyer, you want it to catch the eye, being able to add more than, well, a nice purple shade, but look at all the graphic effects I can do. That was just a little extra beyond the shade the paragraph to make it look a little better. You can jazz it up even more. And all I did was insert a text box and then do the similar kind of things of adjusting the text. Okay, now let's get back to the normal. We've got the shaded paragraph. Now we would like this centered paragraph underneath that to look nice and well. We would like that paragraph to be 22 point. Now I can't apply font size to a paragraph. I have to select the font by either clicking and dragging through it, or dragging down the left margin and it selects that text. Change the font size to 22. Now I do love the Control-Shift greater than to adjust my font step by step all the way up to 22 point. Feels a little big, but that's what they asked for in the textbook. And I'm going to roll my mouse to zoom out a little bit. Say, yeah, that looks okay. It's going to be a poster, so yeah, it needs to be nice and readable. Now I'm ready to begin the rest of the fairly easy concepts here. We want to now apply a size to these lines to have a consistent size and font. And the lines are those two, they're going to become two lists. And we're going to change them all to 20 point. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. All these lines here, if I zoom out just a bit more, all these lines from here, from the how, from the word how, all the way to the end of that list there, not the last tagline, I want to be 20 point. And to do that, I drag through them. Remember, I could have dragged through the left margin, or start selecting here, come to the end, shift, and click, select everything that from there to when I first started. The shift click is very handy when I have lots of text to select. Control Shift greater than to bump that up to 20 point. There's 14, 16, 18, 20. I could have just come up here and chosen 20 as well, but I like the Control Shift greater than as I'm seeing how it's going to look. And of course, back off by zooming back, Control roll mouse, see how it's going to look. Okay. We will worry about that last line later. Now I have the font or the item selected. Now it's time to turn them into numbered lists and bulleted lists. So how do I make this into a numbered list? Easy peasy. Select by dragging through those how many lines they are, and then I click on, let's see, do I want numbered or bulleted? Let's see here. This would be bulleted, this would be numbered, and let's choose numbered, and look at that, already numbered nice for me. Do the same thing to the when, but turn that into a bulleted list. Come down here. I'm going to select through the margin this time and turn them into bulleted lists, either with the menu that popped up there, or I can go up here and say, oh, I want it to be bulleted. Now while we're here, remember, anytime you see something in the ribbon here with a tiny little arrow next to it, that means I have options on what my bullet could be, or options here on what the numbers or could be, a Roman numeral, or alphabetical, capital or small, Roman numeral, lots of numbers, and I can even define my own number format. But most of the time we use the built-in default numbering scheme. So numbered list, bulleted list. And we leave the how and when alone because they're just the leader into that. And we're cruising right along here. We've got lists numbered and bulleted, but now we want to style them a little nicer as we go. We'd like to go down, first of all, before we fix a few things here to highlight a few words and things, let's go to this last line. It's going to become our tagline. And right in here in the middle, this is going to become an image to fill in. So don't worry that we're got to get big blank space at the end. We'll be putting an image in here. Let's go to that last line here. Of course, we want that to be centered. Now I could center it by just clicking on it anywhere and centering the paragraph. I would like to remove this hyperlink. I can right click on that and either follow the link, or I want to remove the hyperlink, and I want to remove that hyperlink. Do I have to have the whole thing selected first? I thought that a right click would allow me to remove my hyperlink. Yes, right click, remove hyperlink. I don't have to select, notice I didn't have to select the whole thing. I could just be somewhere on the hyperlink and right click and remove it. Usually do that when you're just going to print something and not send it electronically. It's centered, but now I want to change the font, and let's adjust the font manually. Let's go to the left margin to select it all, and Control Shift greater than, get as large as we can until it starts wrapping. Oh, back off, and there we're at 20 point font, just like the others were, and it's centered. But since it's going to be this is going to be a tagline, we want this to be more than just a plain text. We would like to format that, look beautiful. We're going to give it a text color. To select it all, let's change the text color to be the same color as the second from the right, second from the bottom color, just like that background color of the top paragraph. Remember, that's a theme color. If I come back and change my theme, this text color will adjust with my theme. And we would like, although we're not going to have that be a hyperlink, we would like to emphasize additional hand washing tips and make that underlined just for practice at formatting text. So select through that by clicking, dragging across, and underline. Right here I can choose the standard underline, or we see the teeny weeny arrow next to it. That gives me other types of underlining I can apply to that. And you know what? I'm going to let you decide if you want a plain flat underline or any of the other underlines you can choose. And you can even choose your underline color. But you have more than the standard underline. You can choose whatever one you want. It makes it seem like it's a hand, reminds you of hand washing. That's that little arrow. Anytime you see the little arrow next to any of these menu items, that means there's additional options. And look at all the tiny arrows everywhere on that ribbon. I've got that underlined. And we would also, let's see, we're going to italicize something here. Oh, we're going to italicize a few words back in our title. We would like to italicize the word prevent. Double click on the word prevent and Control I. How do I know it's Control I? If I come up here and hover over it, I see that, oh, italic Control I is also the keyboard shortcut. So if you don't remember the shortcut, just choose the italicize. Anytime you want to see if there's a shortcut, just hover over that element in the ribbon. If you're going to do it a ton, it's like, hey, maybe it's worth remembering the particular shortcut. Italicize prevent. And let's see what else we got to do. We still have a border to do. And we would like to bold the first letter of the first word of each of these paragraphs. I can double click on wet and Control B for bold, and then double click on lather and Control B for bold. Now if I want to do these, double click, and let's try a Control double click on rinse, Control double click on dry, and now Control B. I can select multiple things and make them bold all at once. Control selecting allows you to select two things that are not connected. I can always drag select or select start and shift select to select everything in between. But Control select is handy to apply the same effect to multiple things. Don't go too more. I would recommend don't Control select more than 10 things, because then on the 11th thing you'll forget the control and lose your selection on the previous 10. It's happened more than once to me. Control select is handy when there's a few things, save a little bit of time. It's called non-contiguous selection. And we bolded that with Control B. And now we're going to save this, and now it's ready to about finish up a few things here. Let's go ahead and do a save because we've done a little bit of work today. And now we want to go get a picture to put inside of here. Now, because there's different ways to get pictures, you can go online. You can, I'll just make a little note here. If I want to pick, I can go online, or I can get a download picture from a zip file sometimes, or it's just downloaded. Well, the textbooks gives us a selection of pictures for this assignment, and I need to go find them in order and then unzip them so Microsoft Word can go find the picture. Microsoft Word does not know how to go hunt inside of a zip file. But let's go find an image that they provided for us and show how we can insert an image right into this location. So I'm going to delete my text, or I'm going to Control Z, undo the typing, and get ready to insert a picture in here. I'm going to turn on paragraph marks just to show you that there's an extra line right there where the picture is going to go. But it's going to be centered, and it's going to fill up the space to make it a lovely centered picture. Make it big, just big enough so that last line will be at the end of my page and not force a new page. So now, how do I go find that picture? Well, let's go explore over to Schoology, where we have the resources for the textbook. So I'm going to go to Schoology, log in as my pal J Smart. Go over to this course. And where do I find the resources for this project? Well, underneath resources here. Lots of resources. And are there links to the documents in the book? Oh, I don't see them there. Let's go back and let's go to, I thought I had it here. Maybe let's try the assignments. I thought I gave you the locations for those. Oh, I know where else to look. Let me go back. I remember now. Let me go back into the syllabus, down to the textbook that's in the syllabus. There we are, the assignment data files. Now I remember where I put them. Assignment data files there. Let's go there. And I've given you a link to zip files for the 4 modules in the textbook. The one that we're interested in is the archive of the resources for Word modules 1 to 3. That's where we want to get the data files. So it is a shared drive out in Google. We're going to just download that one. And I can come here to the download link after hovering over it and download that. It's zipping it into a one big file. Kind of weird because it's already a zip file, but somehow it decides it needs to zip it up. And eventually here, if it doesn't ask, I know it's going to be, I'll see a symbol that it's downloading. I've set my browser to ask me where to download things. And let's make sure I see it's putting it here in my 2004 spring folder that I have in my little path. I'm going to say yes, I want to save it there. This long ugly name, you know what, I think I'm going to replace that name with, I'm going to call it Word Resources. And I'm saving it there into my cs101 folder. Click Save. And I can see my little downloader here in Firefox. I can see that, yeah, it's done downloading. I can click on the little folder icon, and that'll show me the folder where it is now residing. Word resources.zip. I can double click on it, and I see there's a zip file inside of there. I can double click on that, and see that there's 3 zip files inside of there. I care about module 1's data. Double click on there. Click on again to keep going down. Oh, I'm getting close. The module is the one that's covered in the textbook. Double click on that. And there is a washinghands.jpg file there. Now I can extract everything clicking here, or I can see if I can copy paste this file over into Word. Let me try this. I'm going to click on that and right click copy. Go back to my Word document, and let's try a right-click paste or a Control-V. And, oh, there is no copy. Let's try a paste, and there we go. I get an image. Now, a lot more complicated way to do this is to go unzip everything and then do Insert Picture from a file, and I'd have to go hunt for where that picture got extracted. I think it was easier to go down into that archive, see the image, copy paste. So copy paste by going to the source and copy pasting. The harder way, insert picture from this device, hunt over to where I had unzipped that, and let's just see if it shows up. There's my A.T. Manning documents, cs101. SP24. Hey, the zip file doesn't show up as something that I can explore into. It doesn't show up because Word doesn't know how to go down hunt inside of zip files. So hunting through the file using the File Explorer, copy pasting, allowed me to go get that image without having to go through all the trouble of extracting and then doing the insert, which would get me to the same spot. Now look how ugly my poster is. It's gone across multiple pages. And to fix that, I simply come to this picture and I can adjust its size until that tagline at the end, that with the underlined text, stops bouncing to a new page. I would like a little space between it and my previous paragraphs though, so I'm going to make it just a bit smaller. Let's center that either by clicking here, and let's see, I guess I can leave the wrapping top and bottom, which is a good place to do. Let's center that by going to the either control, oh, I have to click the picture first, or do I have to just be in the paragraph? Let's try centering that paragraph. No, not that paragraph. I want to center this paragraph that I'm in here. Can I center that? Oh, it's not centering. Maybe I can just adjust the location of it, put it in the center. There we have it centered within my document. If I add any more graphic effects to that, I might enlarge it just enough to push that text. So I have to watch for that. Now this part is a little more challenging, so I want to be sure you got that. Let me know if you have any trouble with that. Download. Remember what I did? I went to the website. I went to the syllabus. In the syllabus, I gave you a link to where I have the data files. Now, there's another link here in the Student Companion site that takes you to the data files, and you have to look at this file, and this has a whole list of other data files. You have to go download them and essentially do the same thing. Rather than make you go through hunting for them, I just gave you the zip file, but there's still that archive. And how do I know I'm in an archive? The only way to tell when you're browsing an archive, it used to actually have a slightly different color on the extract all. Now all you have to watch for is the extract all to know that you're inside of a zip file. It's not the same as a normal folder. I just call this one of the more confusing things about Microsoft Windows is when you're browsing files and you're looking through an archive, it's hard to know that you're actually inside an archive except you see this. It's like, oh, I have to extract if I want it to look like a normal folder. Otherwise, it just treats it as though we're a normal folder, and you don't know it's a normal folder, zip file until you back up enough to see that there is a zipper over on the folder. That means that's a special kind of a folder called an archive. Okay, so I'm back in Word. We brought in an image. Decent looking, but we could do a little better with it. Just like we can do fancy graphics with that text box, we can add some effects around that image. And let's see the different effects they give us in the book suggested to do to that image. It's too big at first. We adjust the size of it. With images, you can, when it's selected, anytime you're doing graphics, when it's selected, you have a special tab that shows up. Watch what happens if I click off that picture format tab goes away. Select the picture, and I have all these things available to me. The things I can do to that picture, such as crop the picture, give it an exact height and width. I can rotate it or flip it. And let's see if they specify a specific size that they want. I can specify an exact size. They set it to be a height of about 2 inches. I'm at 2.17. If I want that to be exactly 2, I could just come up here and type 2, and it exactly assigns that color and keeps the proportions up there in the size. Now, we made it a little smaller because I think we're going to apply some image effects. Apply a picture style of diagonal corner. Let's see, what do we have here for our picture style? Well, that's picture selected. Come up here and choose diagonal corner. Is that the one? That's the one. Diagonal corner, snip diagonal corner, that's called rounded diagonal corner. The snip diagonal corner gives us a nice effect. And I even noticed there's a little bit of a drop shadow that comes with the snip diagonal corner. But look what happened to me. Because I applied snip diagonal corner, my tagline got pushed off the edge a little bit. So I can adjust my picture size. So there we go. So that picture fits within the page. Another thing I could do was remove some spacing or remove that extra line return there to give me more space on my document for my picture and text without pushing the text off. And the amount of white space around images, that's to your taste, but generally you want to leave a little bit of space. And I still would like to center that picture. Let's see, can I center it over here? I would want position. Let's do, we're not with text wrapping, in line with text. Let's see, is there a position? Let's try a line. Let's try a line center. There we go. There I aligned my picture in the center of my page. Applied an effect, centered it. They would like us, again, to come and apply another effect, a shadow effect. Remember picture format, picture effects, all of these effects available. You could go crazy. They would like us to do a mild shadow underneath perspective, the top one. I don't really like the perspective shadow, but they have suggested that. My shadow, generally, the normal shadow is what most people use. Just a tiny bit of shadow next to it, called like a drop shadow. The perspective shadow, I don't like as much, but that's what the one they suggest in the book. Now we're about done here. Let's zoom out a little bit to see what it would look like. Okay, pretty good. Posters generally look good with a little border around them. So let's see if we can apply a border to our page. And let's adjust our colors too. Washing our hands, purple colors, washing hands, that's decent. But is there a better color theme that makes me think clean and pure? And this is where I can go to my design ribbon. I could choose a whole new theme, or I could just say I like the font, but let's just adjust our color in my theme. So themes come with a built-in color table to go with that theme. But if I don't want to mess with font and paragraph style, but only adjust the colors, I come here to my color table, and my theme now, let's see, do I see what the theme is now? I don't see a bold around any theme to know which one I'm using. But I can apply what looks like nice and pure. These remind me of cleanliness and pureness. And they would like us to choose blue 2 for your color theme. Now with our document, there's only 2 places. We adjusted the color there as a theme color, and the background of our paragraph as a theme color. And the text box, or the independent text box with cool graphics, the same color applied. So it doesn't make me think a lot different than what it was. Just a few different colors. I can adjust that with control arrows to get that in just the right place. Turn off my paragraph markings to see exactly what it's going to look like. Yeah, not too bad. But yet I could use a little border around it. So now let's add a page border and learn what other things we can do to our page. Page border is like a final touch to this nice looking poster, and if I have a good printer, I can apply a border. If my printer is getting old and the papers are not aligned, my border will be off and you'll notice it right away if it's not in line nicely with my pictures. But let's assume we have a good printer, and when we apply a border, it'll still keep it centered when it prints. How do I apply a border? Let's see, where would that be? We're looking for somewhere applying my page borders. Let's see, would it be under layout? There's margins. No. How about design? Oh, way over here on the right. The little known far right parts of our ribbon. Page borders, page color, and you could even apply a cool watermark. Let's start with page border and then explore a little bit on the others. I can choose a page border, and I can choose, by default it's going to apply to my whole document, and since it's only one page for this document, that's great. If you're doing a paper, you'll likely just apply it to your title page. And let's see, what do I have for a page border that they would like us to choose? They would like us to choose a wider border down here, have good patch, some wavy ones, and let's see, I think that's the one, that's the page border they would like us to apply. Let's see if it has a name. I don't know if it has a name. It's a 3-point, kind of a gradient, multiple stripe page border. Current width of 3-point, and we can apply a color, and let's choose a color instead of automatic. Let's choose from our color theme. Notice the second from the bottom, second from the right is a different color now. Fourth from the right, second from the bottom is a lovely turquoise. That will become my border. Now I can choose, before I click OK, I can choose where the border gets applied, what sides of it, if it's just a box border or 3D, or how it gets applied, and what other, let's just check these other options before I click OK. What other options are available? I can apply, keep it in front of things, measure my distance from the edge of the page, and here's a little preview of it. So I have various options to exactly place my border. Yeah. And these are the default locations, 24 points in from all around. I click OK, and I click OK, and there I see my lovely border applied. And now I have a pretty good looking little handout. If I want this picture to fit a little better, let's see, I could go to this paragraph, and I could go to, let's see, my paragraph spacing on that guy. I could remove a space after that paragraph, and that removed my picture spacing. No, I don't want to do that. Let's see, I could remove a paragraph spacing above that. Now I could add a space or remove a space before or after the when. I think we're good with that. Remember how we wanted to look at perhaps a page color? Let's go over to that. Remember where that is? Design, page color. I could apply a light blue shading to my document. Now the dangerous things about page color is if you're going to use them, you better have a really good printer. If you try to apply a page color and your printer is even just mildly, slightly old, instead of a nice background, you'll get a background with little stripes in it, because printers very quickly start building up little defects, and you don't notice them when you're printing text most of the time. But if you're printing a slight background, your eye will pick up any defect in your printer. And of course, if you apply a heavy color to a background, to a page color, you'll be using a lot of toner on your printer, and your toner supply people will not be happy with you. So usually it doesn't come out very well. You'd use it, the best quality you get the picture you want for your page color. But there's always an option, if you want to mess with this, just to experiment with a page color, or you can even apply a text to a page and give it a gradient, or even give it, I think you can give it some texture effects for like a parchment type. I found that to be more effective. You don't notice your printer defects if you try apply like a parchment effect. But that's kind of a cool option you could try and apply it. But remember, your printer is applying that page color. If you really want good quality, you go to the paper supply store and get that quality of parchment. This is kind of be a fake parchment, but you might have fun with it if you're doing a one-shot poster. And let's see if they think that's it for this project. We've applied page color, page border, and they would like us to look at one more thing just as we learn about what Word does. I can zoom in on different parts of it, see how that parchment effect is going to apply. I can go here to the File button and go to Info. Here with Info, I can modify some settings in my that go with my document. I can add a title to it. I'll call it Word Project 1 cs101. I could apply some tags. Simple poster practice. I can put comments. Spring 2024. Easy peasy. If I want more properties, let's select Show All Properties. I could apply status, categories, status, complete, subject, basics of Word, even hyperlinks and company. We'll put Emmaus Bible College. This is what we call metadata that can go along with my document. I could store secret information in here, well, semi-secret information like my website, www.emmaus.edu, a coded message, or my home address. These are the kind of things that maybe you don't always want sent, and when you save, you have an option when you save documents to strip away that metadata that right now I am filling in. That's done in the backstage view. Remember how we got there? File, Info, and I can view the extra information that is stored with my document, such as how many words there are, the size of my file, when it was modified and created, who was the last one to edit it. All these things are stored in the metadata of my document. So with that, I'm going to do one last Control S. My document now is ready for upload to Schoology. So if I'm Mr. Smart, I'm going to go to Schoology, go to that Word document underneath Assignments, click on Submit Assignment, and I can either drag and drop or click on the little file guy there. Go find where I just saved that file that I just completed. I'm over here in the cs101 2024 spring homework. There is JD Smart WD1. Usually this works. Sometimes I've seen people have problems if Word still has the file open. I'm going to see if it has a problem with it. Let's see. I see today's date, today's time. Yes, that looks like the right file. Double click, and now the homework has been submitted for J Smart. And why does he think it's late?
Is this Word Project 1?
This is Word Project 1. And oh, I will change the due date so it doesn't show up late for you. That was a mistake. All right. Have a great day, and we'll begin Project 2 on Wednesday. I mean on Friday. Yeah. Well, let me do something real quick here.